We begin with a live look at the White House this morning, where flags are flying at half-staff to remember the 21 people killed at a Texas elementary school.
It is the deadliest violence at a U.S. school since 2012, when a gunman killed 26 people at Sandy Hook Elementary in Newtown, Connecticut.
My heart is broken for the parents here in Uvalde. It's never thought something like this would happen in a small town and friendly as Uvalde.
CBS reporter Danya Bacchus is in Uvalde this morning with the latest. And Danya, so many people just don't even have the words to describe what they're feeling right now.
You're right. I think that's exactly what it is. There are no words to truly describe the emotion that is running through this community, the emotions that I think all of us feel when it comes to processing what has happened here at Robb Elementary School behind me. Investigators have been on the scene throughout the evening and throughout this morning, and we're hoping to learn more about what happened here, a timeline, and more about the victims. You know, this is a very small, tight-knit community, and it's hard to find someone here who has not been impacted by this tragedy.
Heartbreak for another American town. This time it's Uvalde, Texas, where a gunman killed at least 19 children and 2 adults. Hearses arrived at Robb Elementary School Tuesday evening to take the bodies away.
Look for my daughter.
Jesse Rodriguez waited hours to find out if his 10-year-old daughter Annabelle was alive. Tragically, she was one of the victims. Some parents gave DNA samples to help investigators identify the bodies. Law enforcement sources tell CBS News the 18-year-old shooter drove up to the school with a handgun, an AR-15 assault weapon, and high-capacity magazines.
And as soon as he made entry into the school, he started shooting children, teachers, whoever was in his way. He was shooting everybody.
The gunman was eventually shot and killed by a responding officer.
And at this point, the investigation is leading to tell us that the suspect did act alone during this heinous crime.
The school shooting comes just 2 days before the kids were set to start their summer break.
Innocent second, third, fourth graders.
Mourning those who lost their life, President Biden called on lawmakers to take action to prevent future shootings.
When in God's name we do what we all know in our gut needs to be done.
The attack comes just 10 days after a racially motivated mass shooting at a Buffalo supermarket, and nearly a decade after the shooting at Sandy Hook Elementary in Newtown, Connecticut.
And of course, the heartbreak here is going to continue to grow as we learn more about the victims. I'm sure you guys have seen on social media and through our reports that we are learning more about the victims. We're seeing more pictures of the young 10-year-olds who lost their lives, of the teachers who were trying to protect their students, and that's definitely going to impact, I think, everyone who's been following this story closely.
Yeah, Danya, we're seeing those pictures. They're just babies, and your heart. There's so much grief this morning. You're there at the school. What are people still showing up there this morning to pay their respects, or are families really keeping clear? What's it looking like?
You know, families are where we are. Families are keeping clear from this area. But there is the Civic Center where a lot of families were going to get information about what happened. That's where families were being sent right after the shooting here. So I'm sure once we leave here, and if we're able to get over to the Civic Center, it'll be a completely different scene. And I'll have to be honest, I don't even know if it's one that I would be able to process this morning.
There's a lot to process, and I think it's going to be very difficult for a lot of people.